No one knows the way but your damn self. People try to lend a hand but they can't help. You gotta pick and choose, we are wearing different shoes. Be a bigger you, go and get it, never hands out.
What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be talking about macros, macronutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Guys, it's 2018. Macros are a very popular word that we hear in the nutrition space all of the time. You've heard everything from if it fits your macros to, hey, what are your macros? Or, hey, what are my macros supposed to be in order for me to lose weight or gain muscle or fuel my performance or just live a healthy life, right? So I'm going to break down macros for y'all today and really just try to clear up the subject. So many clients come to us and they're like, macros? I don't even know what macros are. So guys, it's very simply macros, which is just short for macronutrients. Okay, macronutrients and micronutrients. Those are the two things that we're getting from, the food that we're consuming. So when we break it down into those two categories, macronutrients, all that means is those are our proteins, our fats, and our carbohydrates. Okay, so when we think protein sources, we're thinking meats and fishes, things like that. Our fats, we're thinking different cooking oils, nuts and seeds, avocados, things like that. Carbohydrates, now we're talking vegetables, fruits, we're talking more of our starchy sources, rices, potatoes, things like that. So those are the macronutrients, okay? And then what we're also looking into is micronutrients. So micronutrients are our vitamins and minerals that are coming into our body. So for the sake of this conversation, all we're gonna talk is just macros, okay? I want to simplify macros. So many people, oh my God, what is macros? I don't get it. What should my macros be? Guys, protein, fats, carbohydrates. Start with that, okay? So, how much protein should I be eating? Well, it's gonna be different for everybody, okay? It's gonna be dependent upon your lifestyle, what type of training that you do, your body weight, right? What your goals are if you're trying to put on more muscle mass or lose body fat. But in general, what we're looking for typically on this is take your body weight, your current body weight, okay, and multiply it by 1. So for me, I weigh about 185 pounds. So I would take 185, multiply it by 1, and basically a very general recommendation for protein intake would be 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for me, weighing 185 pounds, I'm trying to consume about 185 grams of protein per day, okay? For most people, a lot of people are actually under eating that number. And especially if you're in a setting where you're doing, resistance training, if you're doing any type of, working out that involves, strength training or lifting weights or whatever you want to call it, it's essential that we're hitting those protein numbers so that we can help our bodies recover, from the training that we're doing, as well as, it also keeps us satiated, right? In between meals. Protein is one of the hardest macronutrients for our bodies to break down and digest, so it actually allows us to stay satiated for a longer period of time. Also, another big piece on it is that it actually helps us burn body fat, right? Because when we're eating protein and we're doing resistance training, we're increasing our muscle mass, which helps us burn body fat. So, protein intake, start off with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, okay? So, in my example, again, starting off here, 185 grams of protein. So 1 gram of protein yields 4 calories, okay? So all I'm gonna do with that, when I take about a calculation, when you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, how many calories should come from protein? Well, I'm gonna take that 185 and I'm gonna multiply it by 4. So I took my body weight and I multiplied it by 4, okay? Once I do that, I don't have a calculator on me right now, but once I do that, that's gonna say, hey, 185 multiplied by 4, that's how many calories, total calories in my day are coming from protein, okay? From there, we can look into our fat intake. Now, unless you're following something like the ketogenic diet, the keto diet, which is a very, very high fat diet, most of the time, most people are taking somewhere, between 30 to 40% of their total calories coming from fat. Like I said, if you're doing keto, that range is up at 70, 75% of your total intake being fat. But again, in general, for most people, 30 to 40%. So with fat, 1 gram of fat actually yields 9 calories, okay? And so it's the most calorically dense out of all of the macronutrients. So when I take 30 to 40% of your total calorie intake for the day, all right, then, and again, if y'all missed the video on calorie intake and how to determine how many calories you should consume, well, go back to that video. It's probably somewhere below this one, and make sure you check out that one first, because you definitely need to understand how many calories that you should be consuming based on your goals. So assuming that you have your calorie intake number goal, right? And so for me, let's say I'm just trying to maintain, okay? I do CrossFit, so body weight times anywhere from 15 to 17 is basically gonna give me maintenance level calories, assuming that I'm doing CrossFit 5 days a week, like I am. So I would basically just take that calorie number and I would multiply it by either, basically 30% or 40%, wherever I wanted to fall in that range. So for me, I'm staying somewhere around about 30% on average, 30 to 40% given on the day. And so when I take that number, right, and I multiply it by 9, that's gonna give me the total number of calories that are coming from fat for the day, okay? So now I've established my protein intake, I've established my fat intake, and so the last macronutrient is carbohydrates. So now I just need to basically take my total calories that I had figured out from the last video, right, and subtract it from the number of calories coming from protein and the number of calories coming from fat. The leftover number there is going to be the amount of calories that are coming from carbohydrates, okay? And so all I need to do here is take that number, divide it by 4, because 1 gram of carbohydrate yields 4 calories, just like protein did. So I'm going to take the total number of calories, I'll divide it by 4, and that's going to give me the number of grams of carbohydrates to consume each day, okay? And so why people like macros so much is because what it allows you to do is it allows you to look into your day and say, hey, based on how many times a day I typically eat or I want to eat or whatever works best for my schedule, well, if I had the goal of 185 grams of protein, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go into an app like MyFitnessPal, okay? I'm gonna set those metrics into MyFitnessPal, okay? So all you have to do on this is if you download MyFitnessPal, the app, click more on the bottom right-hand corner of the app, and then from there, it's gonna bring you to where it says settings, click settings, then click goals, and you'll be able to actually set your calorie and macronutrient goals so that you can try to start consistently hitting those numbers, okay? But guys, that's pretty much it. Like, I think a lot of the times macros get hyped up to be way more than what they really are. Guys, all it is just the foods that we're consuming, and it's the portions, right? It's the ratios at which we're consuming them. So guys, that's it. That's simple. With the protein goal, sometimes really the range on this, we'll see body weight times 0.6 all the way up to 1.6. So it really is a big range, but I would say in general, make sure that you're getting pretty close to at least that 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That would be the first macronutrient that I want to focus on. And again, this is coming from meats, fishes, eggs. There's plant-based protein sources as well. Protein powders, bars, that type of thing, right? Fats are coming from, again, our cooking oils, our animal fats, our nuts and seeds, avocados, olives, things like that. And then carbohydrates are coming from vegetables, fruits, rices, potatoes, tortillas, breads, that type of thing. So when you're trying to figure out, where your macros should start, it's no different than the calories. Make sure that you assess, okay? Log your food on MyFitnessPal for 7 days, okay? Assess on average how many calories you're taking in each day. Assess on average how much protein, carbohydrates, fats that you're taking on each day. And then from there, you'll kind of be able to assess and say, okay, these are kind of my averages. Now, based on where my protein should be, where my fats should be, where my carbohydrates should be, where my calories should be, in order to reach my goals, now I can start kind of slowly working in that direction, right? So always assess first, okay? Then calculate, okay? And then start strategizing, game planning, and working towards that goal. Always reassessing and making sure that what you're doing is working. And if it's not working, then it's time to look in there and make adjustments. Remember guys, consistency is key though, so don't make premature adjustments. Give yourself some time and really listen to those biofeedback metrics, which we'll be going into in depth on the next video. So guys, hope this helps. Macronutrients, super easy. Proteins, fats, carbohydrates. How much of each do you need to contribute to your total calories for the day? Guys, hope this helps. Let us know, comment below if you have any questions on this. And yeah, I hope this helps. Macronutrients, macros, this should be easy now. Guys, y'all have a great day, great week, and boom.